This is Get Tube Fit with Cornell Green. Getting you motivated to work out, lose weight, and take action. With the help of YouTube and Instagram fitness stars, Cornell brings you interviews that are sure to inspire. Learn how they overcame their struggles and what motivates them to stay consistent in achieving their goals so you can do the same.
All right. Welcome to the Get Tube Fit podcast. I'm your host, Cornell Green, and I have a special guest here with me today, Bob Arkin from the YouTube fitness channel, Olympusiron. What's up, Bob?
What's going on, Cornell? How are you guys?
I'm fine, man. You ready?
I'm ready. I was born ready, my friend.
All right, man. Let's do it. Bob runs a popular fitness YouTube channel named Olympusiron that focuses on motivating and inspiring his viewers on strength training and living a healthier lifestyle. Bob, I've given the listeners a brief overview. Now I'm going to turn it over to you. If you could, please share a little bit about you personally, because we're here to learn about you, then introduce your channel.
Well, guys, I started off as a martial artist. That was the beginning of my fitness journey, and I was martial arts for about 12 years. And my brother, who actually was a big inspiration to me, was big into fitness, big into lifting, powerlifting and bodybuilding. So that was really my first introduction to fitness, and his tutelage that he gave me throughout my beginning of my lifting really, it was the inspiration behind Olympusiron. And right now, Olympusiron is 12,000 subscribers strong and growing every day. And it means so much to me to get so many people on board with a positive lifestyle that I can present to them through my channel.
Excellent, Bob, man. That's great, man. I'm glad you shared that with us, and you do have an inspiring, motivating channel. And, we're going to jump right into this thing, man. And the first segment of this show basically is early struggles. So if you could please share with the listeners a short story at a time at the beginning of your journey where you encountered some form of struggle or resistance from within, along with how you overcame that struggle and the lesson that you learned from the whole experience.
Well, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can relate to my struggle. Is that my original struggle was I was in a relationship that was unhealthy, and the fact that I would try to get into the fitness world, get into the weights, get into even continuing my martial arts career. And I kept getting resistance for somebody who, basically just wanted all of my time and viewed any time that I spent on myself as me being selfish. And, I learned the value of being a little selfish every once in a while. And then being selfish can't always be a bad thing. And that sometimes you need to take time to figure out who you are. And in the gym, I was able to figure out who I was, my values, and it really sorted out a lot of the moral issues that rid my life. And once I broke that relationship together, I became much more independent. I had much more friends, my family. I became much more close to my family. So what I really learned over the whole thing is be a little selfish sometimes, guys, and learn more about yourself, because if you don't know about yourself inside, you can't really benefit other people, because you will be forever a chameleon. You will be forever copying other people, because you will never know yourself.
So your background is martial arts. I'm quite sure a lot of what you apply in the gym ties to, the experiences during that time.
It's unbelievable how they're interconnected, and how so many bodybuilders, seeing C.T. Fletcher, the list goes on, where they've all had martial arts backgrounds, because it basically preaches strict form, consistency, hard work, discipline. All the things are aligned. So same thing with anything in fitness. If you take it seriously, it's gonna go from one thing to the other. So like if a bodybuilder went into, martial arts, I'm sure that he would have the same success as I've had going from martial arts to bodybuilding.
Brings a certain level of self-discipline that sometimes you can't find anywhere else.
It's so true. It's so true, is that you can't find it anywhere else. Cause a lot of the times with the gym, it's more loose. You can decide how motivated you want to be, but in martial arts, you have a drill sergeant basically, yelling down your throat and making sure that, you're pushing yourself and that you're getting better and constantly feed you criticism, because if you're working out alone, sometimes you may never know that you'll ever doing something wrong or you're not pushing yourself hard enough.
Thank you for sharing that, Rob. By looking at your YouTube channel and watching your videos, I can tell you have a deep understanding of nutrition. Now, did that come from just a lot of research, or do you have some form of a background in that field?
Well, I do have a lot of college courses under my belt. I actually went to Johnson in Wales, which is a culinary school, which has very good nutrition schools. So instead of wasting my electives while a lot of people just take the easiest class, I decided to take something because at that current time I was actually working for a large nutrition company, and I was like, how can I use this to benefit my job and also benefit me? So I was like, why don't I take some nutrition courses? So why don't I take something that's going to benefit me not only for my body, but also for my current position, for my job. And Olympusiron wasn't even a thought at that point in my life is how I'm going to, use this on the interweb. It was more, hey, how am I going to help my customers at my store? Even the next step further, even though I'm selling supplements, how can I help them reach their goals even more by bringing the nutrition aspect into it as well?
And it all ties in together with, what you're doing now with the martial arts, with the understanding of nutrition and supplements. And it's funny how you look back on your journey and how you going through them experiences ties into what you do very well, which is perform and inspire and motivate through your YouTube channel.
It's all interconnected, Cornell. And the thing is that, the more people understand how they can learn life lessons from small things, the more understanding you'll have and the more grip you'll have on the path that your life goes,
Right. I totally agree. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that, Rob. We're going to move on to what I call motivate me. If you could, please, at this point in your life, could you describe or share with the listeners what motivation means to you?
Motivation means to me is that not only do you understand yourself, but you have the proper tools and the proper, like I was talking before about the relation between the interrelation of different things in your life.
Yes.
And bringing that together and being able to use that to drive your actions. So, for example, for the gym, for me, being motivated in the gym and learning about consistency in the gym, I'm able to say to myself when I go to work, you know what? Same thing like in the gym. I need to be consistent. I need to be a consistent hard worker, and hard work is the only way to get where you need to be. In that way, it's self-motivation. It's self-motivation at that point. And it's the true essence of motivation, because motivation, like we talked before, is that, you can easily go up and down like a yo-yo, and you can easily be motivated by a picture you see on Instagram. But true motivation comes from relating the things that are in your life and finally saying to yourself, you know what? Everything has a similar set and steps that you can follow to achieve. And that's really the motivation, is that, you know what? This is easy. I work hard consistently in the gym. I work hard consistently at work. And what's the key thing that I'm getting at all this? I'm getting success.
Yeah, how I tie into that is, motivation comes with taking that first step. It all begins with that first step. And from there, like you said, having that self-discipline to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And, that's a great example of, what we have here with motivation. So tying into that, I'm quite sure you have a lot of family and friends and people that follow you on your channel who ask for advice and feedback on why you do what you do and how you do it. Why do you think it's so difficult for so many people to stay committed to eating healthy and exercising on a permanent basis? And what would you recommend to them as far as what they can do to get more results by being consistent?
I really think the problem nowadays, and I find it all the time, is that the environment they surround themselves with. You're a product of your environment, and I truly believe that. And I know that there's some instances where people become the exact opposite of their environment out of rebellion, and then there's you get some outliers during that. But I feel like your environment is so key to where you're at, and you need to surround yourself with a positive environment. That's why the YouTube fitness community it's so important for it to be positive. Because take my office, for example, all right? It's very easy for me as just a person going into my office. All right, I'm an accountant. Everybody eats fruit, granola bars, and basically no protein and eats very little throughout the day, doesn't exercise, and sits in a chair all day. That's the norm.
That's the norm.
You know? And everyone doesn't want to be the one to get plucked first. You know, they say that you know, the rose in the whole field of weeds gets pulled first, gets plucked first.
Right.
But the line is, if you have that mentality, the opposite is true. That you'll never be plucked for greatness. Yeah, maybe you'll be scrutinized. I'm sure that people make fun of me for bringing my 6-pack bag into my office every, 3 to 4 hours and making sure that I have, weighed out rice, chicken, and my asparagus. I have everything together. But the bottom line is, you need to surround yourself with an environment that's welcoming. And even though my office isn't welcoming, I have YouTube, for example, there's tons of people that are so relatable to me. And the great thing about fitness in general is that, that meme that you see online now, and it's, hey, you like fitness? I like fitness. Did we just become best friends?
Right.
Nope. That's exactly how it is, Cornell. Like me, I just met you. We just started talking about gym stuff.
Yes.
And it's already like we're best friends. It's already like we're talking back and forth. Hey, what'd you work out today? Now we're talking back and forth. That's the positive side of fitness, in that you can surround yourself so easily with so much positivity with Instagram, with social media nowadays. Like, even if you don't have a very fit home, a fit office, any environment, you can create your own because
you control it.
Yeah, exactly.
You hit the nail on the head with the environment, and I know that tied into your personal struggle with, your friend that you were dealing with. It was a bad experience. It was unhealthy. So you had to surround yourself around people that were going to allow you to help you achieve your goals. And, environment, it can be looked at in so many different ways, from the type of foods you have in your refrigerator or your pantry that don't support your goals, and the negative people that you hang around. So yes, you definitely hit the nail on the head with that question, man. And I really appreciate you sharing that, man. Good stuff.
It's tough. It's, hey, you're craving at night, and there's only chips in the house. What are you going to eat? Chips. Exactly. Same thing with your Instagram. If you only follow, junk food, and you don't follow any motivational things, you follow negative things, you don't have that edge of the cliff to hold on to.
Right.
When you're feeling down, you have nowhere to go. You're surrounded by negativity, so there's nothing to hold on to.
We're going to move on here to a segment of the show where I say, what does this mean to you? There's a book that I love to read. It's called Taking the Stairs by Roy Ovating, the 7 Steps to Success. Give me your meaning of what this means to you. Success is not owned, it's only rented, and the rent is due every day. What does that mean to you, Bob?
Cornell, I'd never heard this before. You had put this in front of me for me to think about. And what I first did is I read it 3 times. And then the second thing is I just felt this overwhelming sense of motivation and understanding. And those who can motivate themselves understand that this is your life. This is every day.
Every day.
That consistency, that success is about consistency. And even when you have success, it's never enough. And the one thing that I tell people, especially with fitness goals, hey, you've got a great physique already. Why do you push so hard? Because success is not about you reached your goal. Because that may be what it starts as. Mm-hmm. Cornell, you might tell me that, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. You get that 20 pounds off, Cornell. Do you think all of a sudden you're just going to be like, all right, I'm good. I'm just going to be, I'm going to be cool with just losing that 20 pounds and I'm going to coast.
I've been there, Bob. And the reason why this show is in existence is because I'm tired of being that yo-yo dieter. I'm tired over the past few years losing 30 pounds and being so unfocused and inconsistent, and getting complacent with that weight loss And then without knowing it, through making subconscious decisions, the weight's back on. And, I know what that feels like.
Well, check this out, Cornell. All right. So you're consistent with your program, and then you slip up for a little while. Right. All right. If you don't learn from your slip up, that's the only thing that isn't a success, because slipping up is not a failure, because more dreams are killed by doubt than by failure. More dreams are killed by doubt than by failure. That you, as a human, are allowed to make mistakes, and by learning from those mistakes, you are paying your success's rent. You are paying the rent. You're paying your dues. Just because you're not on the up and up doesn't mean that you're not paying your rent and not being successful. Part of success is learning to fail, because if you don't have anything to reflect on, you'll never truly appreciate what your current situation is. And you won't really strive to push to the top. And then once you've been traveling on that road to the top long enough, you realize there is no top. And that's what this quote means, is there is no top of the mountain, that you will constantly climb.
Forever, because it's a lifetime commitment.
It's a lifetime commitment to success. Absolutely. And success is very perceptive. But the only person's perception you should be worried about is your own perception of your success.
Because you have to believe it for yourself. The first person to know what they have to do is understanding who they are. So I totally agree with you.
Exactly. Confidence in your own success is the first step to truly being successful. Because if other people think you're successful, but you don't think highly of yourself, it won't last, and you'll teeter off, and people won't be motivated by you, because there's a difference between being humble and being confident. You know that just as I do.
Absolutely.
If you're not humble, you come off as a know-it-all. And if you're too shy and too reserved, then people don't take you as seriously, and they question your judgment.
Say it again. This is a part of the show, Bob, where I ask you to say it again. I'm going to play a YouTube video from your channel, and if you could, based off your memory, share with the listeners the message that you were trying to get off with your audience. So let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, man.
What's going on, guys? Bob from Olympusiron. Wanted to do this video about perception, guys, because I had this revelation. I mean, I've had this for a long time, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, something that I have a lot of drive of. And if it's something that I have a lot of passion about, I like to share. That's why I made this channel, is to share my passion with you guys. So you go into the gym and you see somebody working out. They don't look like they lift, and that they have an informant's off and everything. You immediately start to judge, right? We've all done it, guys. There's no shame in admitting it. But the bottom line is, this industry is so goddamn negative because we let our perceptions get the best of us.
All right, everybody. That video is called Do You Even Lift? Check it out at www.youtube.com/OlympusIron. Bob, what was the message you were trying to get across in that video?
You know, that video was inspired because I went into the gym with a new outlook. Is that I looked at the people who were working out not as my competitors, but rather people who are doing the same thing I'm doing. Too many times, especially with men. It happens with women as well, but we're testosterone driven, and we get in the gym and we're like, I can lift more weight than him. I look better than him. My triceps look better than him. My chest is bigger than his. He's got small legs, and we're immediately analyzing it. That's a huge mistake in the fitness industry, because we are all going to the same goal. It's like an army of people who are following the same goal but fighting with each other. It just doesn't make any sense. To me, and I'm so guilty of it, Cornell. I go into the gym sometimes and I'm just like, new guy in the gym. Yep, his form's horrible. Yep, he's eyeballing me. He's Myron.
It gets that serious.
Yeah, and it gets that serious. And then, you know what? You gotta stop yourself. And I stopped myself that day and I said, Bob, man, dude, he's doing the same thing you are. And you don't know his backstory. This kid could have probably, been through a heck of a lot in his life. And just like I do, life is a roller coaster and it throws things at you. And some of us are much more lucky and privileged than others. And sometimes that skews our perception. We look at these people like they're lower than us, and that just because he just started working out, like, I'm not going to talk to him, like, all this. And you know what I started doing, Cornell? I started talking to every new person in my gym. Every new person, I go up to them, never even meeting them, and I introduce them. I've done this on 2 separate occasions already in my gym. One to a guy named Alpha, and one to a guy named Rashid. And that was yesterday. I introduced myself to him, and that was after my 300-pound PR. He said, "Nice job, man," and then just went back to work. He didn't like try to linger in the conversation. I made my way back to him. I go, "I really appreciate you thanking me for that. My name's Bob. You new to the gym? Like, hey, maybe we can get a lift in sometime. If you ever need a spot, let me know, man. I'm always down for that. I like to spread positivity."
And that's exactly what your channel is all about, spreading positivity. And,
Cornell, imagine if everybody came up to you in the gym and just had that environment. How motivating is that to go into that gym?
I totally agree. Or somebody looks you dead in the eye and don't say anything to you and keep walking like they want to say something, but everybody's in their own world and we're not in a more push me and I'll pull you type of mentality. And I feel that, gyms need to have that type of energy in order for everybody to succeed.
I think it's wonderful, man. I think that if I can spread that to my gym and then I get that environment where everyone is working together towards the same goal, and maybe somebody works harder than another person, but maybe, just maybe, all of our hard work can increase us just another step, just a little bit of that step. And then now we're all getting better and we're helping each other, we're using 2 heads or 3 heads is better than 1, kind of deal.
Absolutely. And I think if you keep that mentality, there's no way you can deny, that positive energy from somebody, despite on what you're going through or what you have going on mentally, and you bring it into the gym. Positivity kills all that. So I totally agree with you. Bob, share a personal habit you believe contributes to what I would call your fitness success, because you're ripped, you're strong, and it's obvious you have an understanding on what works. So could you share with the listeners a habit that you follow daily that aids to your fitness success?
2 things, actually. And one of them's corny, and the other one's kind of a give me.
Okay.
The other, Greg Plitt said something to me once, and this is a paraphrase, but he said on one of his videos, he said, if you don't have a plan for your life, you become a plan of somebody else's life. And it's so true, because there's also a quote out there that says, if you don't follow your dreams, one day you'll be judging the people who did. And and to me, people need to plan. For me, I might be a little OCD about this, but for this interview, for example, Cornell, I was like, you know what? Today I don't have time to go to the gym after, because I had that interview with Cornell.
I appreciate that.
What I'm gonna do, okay, I gotta work 52 hours this week because it's tax season. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up and set my alarm at 5 o'clock. And what I do is I buy the extra long cord for an iPhone and I put it across the room. And then put that alarm on, the most annoying sound.
Oh, I need to do that.
I get up and I have to walk my you-know-what all the way over and shut off that alarm instead of just hitting the snooze button. And by that time, I'm already up. In those 3, maybe 4 steps, I've already said to myself, I'm going to kill it today. I'm getting up. I'm already up. Time to go to the gym.
And that works for you.
And so I pick up the phone and I'm ready to go. But see, my plan, and I already outlined it to the day, and it's going to the T. And sometimes you're going to have veers off of the plan, but you got to learn to adapt it. It comes with practice. But I went to the gym 5:30 to 6:30. All right. Got out. I ate my meal and I was able to get to work earlier. I worked until 6. So I got out a little earlier and I was able to get home, get another meal in me, and sit down for this interview. After this interview, I already have in my head, I'm going right to Stop and Shop. I'm grabbing my grocery list of food. I'm going to prep my meals, and then I'm planning. So pop open a good comic book, read a couple comics, and then my girlfriend's coming home, and then And then we're going to have maybe watch a nice 30-minute show, go to bed, and then plan my next day. So life's a giant balancing act.
And this preparation is key. So you have to plan, man. It's obvious you plan for this interview because you're just dropping all kinds of golden nuggets, man. And I appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? And the other thing, which is the corny thing, is that I actually surround myself with, and I got this from Nick Pinero. Shout out to you. He's the actually co-founder of Olympusiron. No longer with Olympusiron, about to start his own channel and start his own journey. And, still my best friend. The guy motivates me every day. But he around his room during prep time puts up sticky notes. He puts up notes. He has a big blackboard. He painted his wall blackboard paint, and he has like chalk writing on there for his goals, short term, long term. And it's so corny. You'd be like, wow, that's so corny that, you know, you have your, you know, your room surrounded with these. But I have a whiteboard right near my mirror that has all my goals. Lifting. I'll read them real quick to you. It has my show. It has my list. It has that I want to move out with my girlfriend. It says get master's degree. And I had put a quote down there. Success is not about the process, not the destination. And then my last one is I put give back on there. So that's all my goals. So every day I get to look at that and then be reminded. And above my desk, I have all famous quotes from some of the famous people that have inspired me. So that when I'm sitting down at my desk thinking about my YouTube videos, editing my YouTube videos, I look at these and I go, cause sometimes everyone veers off the path. And sometimes I think to myself, am I having the right direction right now? And sometimes it just takes recruiting others too. You know, sometimes my girlfriend sits down and watch my video and she goes, you know, you shouldn't plug your t-shirts in this video because it's, you know, you're being more personal with your fans this time. And it means a lot because she's a huge support system. And a lot of people out there have great support systems that they don't tap into because they don't want it to welcome them into their lives. And they're not willing to be open enough. And you know, if you talk to your parents, if you talk to your girlfriend about how passionate you are about something, if they truly love you and if they're really your friend or anything like that, they're going to jump right on board with you and they're going to be another motivating factor that you can use towards your success. So that's all the tools. Everyone has the toolboxes. Just not everyone knows how to use the tools. So that's a great thing. Why I started the channel in the first place is helping people tap inside and grab tools they never even thought about using.
So man, I really appreciate that. And I know you're going to check off that whole list, man. And it's great to see that you definitely have in there that you want to help others and give back. And, that's kind of how I feel why this podcast, needed to be created, to give back, to say thank you to all the YouTube fitness personalities to take the time that it takes to record these videos, to share their content and their wisdom to inspire and motivate, man. So thank you for all you do. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that habit that attributes to your fitness success. What do you enjoy most about, creating these YouTube videos on your channel?
Honestly, probably the community. The community that, I mean, sure, there's trolls and you get your people that are negative, but
I'm not negative, but I'm a troll.
Hey, it's fun. It's all good and fun because it's almost to the point where trolling is actually not offensive. If you're a troll, it's not offensive. It's almost to the point where it's like you bounce back and forth with the trolls. And I mean, there's general people that disagree with your stuff, but right. You know what? Disagreement, if everyone agreed with you, life would be pretty boring.
It would be. And what I've come to learn, Bob, is, everybody has an opinion and, they're like money. No matter how much you know, there's always somebody who knows more. So.
Exactly. And even if they're wrong, they're going to say, you're never going to get 100%. You're never going to get all likes and 0 dislikes consistently throughout your entire YouTube career. And my favorite part is just the community. And I started this channel not realizing how many people are out there facing the same struggles I am every day, being the same positive force in other people's lives every day.
You're very active on your channel with going to the expos and even having collabs with other YouTube personalities that are present, like, the Nick Wrights and the Brandon Campbells and the Scott Herman. You're very active. And I like I said, that's very positive and motivating to see you doing that because you want to be around positive people who are doing the same things that make you happy. So Absolutely.
Well, I'm not saying I'm a superhero or anything, but
you live like one, man.
but let's say this: it's just like movies or superheroes. You get two action heroes or two superheroes that you really enjoy. If you get those two in the same movie or in the same comic, you know, how exciting is that? Why wouldn't you want to watch that? All of a sudden you see the Expendables with like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's got all these people, and you're like, oh my God, these people rocked my childhood in the 90s. Like, those are the action heroes. Not saying we're heroes, but if you subscribe to a lot of channels, a lot of people dream, like, what if, you know, Bob from Olympusiron met Brandon Campbell. They live close. Like, what would that video be like? And then I like to be able to show them that. And then the other half of it is I watch these people too. I'm a fan and a viewer of their channels too. So, you know, it's good. It's good. I'm like, I watch Brandon Campbell's videos consistently. Nick Wright's videos consistently. Max Tunings. I watch tons of YouTube videos for inspiration. And for me to collab with these people isn't just for the viewers. It's for me too. And I learn things just as much as they do. And it's almost to that point of what I said before. Hey, you have a YouTube channel? I have a YouTube channel. Did we just become best friends? Yep.
So with that being said, Bob, what do you think separates your fitness channel from others?
I think I bring like an old school bodybuilding lifestyle to an age where a lot of science is taking over. And I'm not completely against science. I think science is great. And I bring in the factor that I know my body and I'm constantly studying my body and the effects things have on my body. And I'm able to teach other people to do that. And I'm kind of quirky too. I have, you know, some of the things that other YouTubers don't bring in is, you know, my knowledge of geeky things like Legends of Zelda, like comic book stuff. Like
and a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah, a lot of people relate to that because you know what, you know, there might be people that are like, you know, hey, I don't know who Goku is. And I'm like, yeah, right, dude, you definitely know who Goku is. Don't lie. But most of the people on the internet like Goku, and most of the people on the internet watch Dragon Ball Z at one point in their life or read comics or, you know, played video games. And you know what? Like, for example, when I first discovered pre-workout, that video where I go into the chest and the Legend of Zelda chest music is playing. And then I reveal the pre-workout. Like, that's the kind of comedy and entertainment, but also I bring the real me and how I can reach out to somebody and just relate and help them understand, you know, their current situation. And I did exactly what everyone on YouTube is already doing. And I'm sure that other YouTube channels have that similar experience, but I think that I'm able to articulate it in a way that people can understand. And Nick Wright actually said it best. He goes, you know, you were the best salesman at the supplement store that we both worked at. And he goes, the reason why you were the best salesman wasn't because you knew the most about the product. He goes, it's because you knew most about the person.
And that's important. I mean, you know, there's hundreds of YouTube fitness channels that are relevant out there, and everybody has their own sound and own angle, even if they're making the same video, and it's what relates to you that you connect to, you subscribe to, and you support. And that's why I love the whole community as a whole and how you all support each other. So appreciate you sharing that. So with that being said, name one fitness channel that you personally are subscribed to that you feel provides helpful content and value to the YouTube fitness world.
I honestly think that Johnny Candido's channel is probably the most helpful. And by helpful, I mean technically helpful. That there's certain channels, and you gotta split them up, that are motivational. Some of them are funny and inspiring, and some of them are very technical and need to be there for people to realize, like, how technical you can get with this stuff. And Johnny Candido really opened my eyes. Him and Brandon Campbell have opened up my eyes to squatting, deadlifting, and benching as like an art form that has got me into, I just signed up for a random powerlifting meet a week from now. Not even ready. I text Brandon today. I go, hey, did you like the new video? And he's like, oh, dude, congratulations. He's like, hey, do a powerlifting meet with me next week. And I go, are you kidding me? I go, how much is a singlet? You're like, $30. I was like, all right, I'll do it. And he's like, dude, only you would do that. Like, just because I'm doing it for fun, you know, and I'm going to throw the video up but if I never knew the joys of critiquing your form to that level, and I say joys because it's constant growth, kind of like we were talking about before, success is a process every day. Looking at my squats, seeing that, like, you know, oh my gosh, my hips do open up at the bottom and I'm a little tight and I need to work on a little bit more mobility. I need to read up a little more into my mobility exercises, maybe take 10 minutes to do that, to actually be more preventative in my overall lifting career.
Okay.
His channel has really helped me out, you know, and a lot of people, they just look at squat as, okay, I'm going to drop my ass to the ground and lift this thing back up. But there's so many things that go into it that can increase your performance. And it's just,
there's a science behind it.
It's biomechanics, and it's wonderful.
I recently posted on his channel that I think he's the king of squats, or he's becoming it, because the value that he puts out there, primarily on that, exercise is so in depth that, you could not walk away from it without learning something and applying it in the gym. So definitely doing some inspiring things, as well as educating, you know, the world, because everybody gets a glimpse of what you all do and how you do it. And, it's definitely appreciated. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's not raw strength. You look at Johnny, and no offense to Johnny, but he's not raw strength. He's very strong, but it's his technique too, and his constant detail in the way that he focuses on his hips, on his joints, and where they're positioned, how he can get the most out of his muscles, keeping your back tight during the squat. You know, these simple tricks that it might seem like tricks, but it's a technique. You know, don't sweat the technique. You know, the guy you might be stronger than the guy, like raw, like you might have more raw power, but I'll guarantee you this guy will outskill you any day. And that's the amazing thing. Kind of like martial arts, you know, a guy might be bigger, a guy might be stronger, but not necessarily win the fight. And
that's why I'll definitely agree with that. You cannot judge a book in this day and age by its cover, because there's a lot of guys out here who have that inner strength, and there's no more tumbling over anybody these days. You have to watch what you say and be respectful to everybody.
And then a 165 pound Max Tuning, will deadlift 500 and
amazing.
some odd pounds. And you're just like, what just happened in my life right now?
So finishing up with YouTube and, you know, your channel, you know, I'm quite sure a lot of people, you know, send you messages and come up to you and ask you, you know, what does it take to start my own fitness channel? I'm interested in doing something like kind of similar to what you're doing. What advice would you have to the listeners who are inspired to start their own channel and do what you're doing?
You know, the first thing that everyone says when that gets brought up or somebody gets asked that is they always say, be yourself. And I think that is such a bad answer. I mean, it's obvious you should be yourself.
A bad answer.
I honestly think it's a bad answer, because you tell somebody to be themselves, it's very vague. It's absolutely vague, because you're not giving them any sense of direction. They should be themselves. That should be on the list of things you tell them to do. But I think it's a cookie cutter way to get out of a long conversation.
Okay.
And the long conversation should be about, why do you want to start a YouTube fitness channel? What are your reasonings behind the YouTube channel? Ask yourself that. If it's fame, you're doing it for the wrong reason. If it's money, you're definitely doing it for the wrong reason.
So you have to have passion, and your why just has to be big enough, because you're going to go through some bumps in the road. But if you're passionate about it, you'll be able to stick through it.
Yeah, I see these people with 500 subscription channels uploading consistent, great content, and they're not growing fast. But you know what? They have passion.
And the power is not in the numbers. What I've come to learn, it really isn't.
It isn't. And you know, these little channels that, you know, people shout out, I check them out. Those subscribers that say, hey, check out my channel, I check them out. Because you never know. You're going to find gold. Just like Nick Wright found gold when he met Max Tuning. Didn't know the kid could deadlift crazy amount of weight. And had a positive effect on Max's life.
He makes it look easy at this point. You all do.
And now he's got 26,000 subscribers and is touching many people's lives with funny trolls and
and all day eating videos.
Yeah, well,
Disregarding.
Too, like small people who want to be strong, he inspires them to be strong. So, and he definitely doesn't do it just for the money. You know, you got to ask yourself, why are you doing this? And then, like I said before, plan out your conquering of the YouTube world. Like, what are you going to do? You need to have a plan for it. What type of content are you going to put out? You know, what are your capabilities? What devices do you have? What's your schedule? Are you on the road a lot? Are you going to take a lot of car vlogs? Is your video going to mostly be vlogs? Does your gym allow filming? Are you going to have a lot of gym footage? What are you going to cover? What aren't you going to cover? There's a lot of questions you got to ask. But the bottom line is you should be yourself anyway, because soon into your YouTube career, people are going to realize that you're being fake and that you won't grow. So they get weeded out one way or the other.
One way or the other. All right, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. We're going to get ready to close this show up, and we're going to move on to the final segment, and that is what works for you. And we're going to tie into resources. So we're going to get started. If you could, I like to read, whether it's Audible or Kindle. You know, I think it's important that we, you know, strengthen the muscles within us and in our brains to educate us about whatever we're into. So, Bob, if you could you share with the listeners a book recommendation that you feel will motivate and help them get going in the right direction?
This isn't a fitness book, Cornell, but this is a book that millions have used to actually benefit their life and is able to actually plan your all-out war, literally, on your life and how to win it. And it's The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And it's a book written by a famous military leader, and I'm gonna read a quote from the book. It's appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. That's a very powerful quote from that book. And it basically goes through, and you can, just like I said before, taking things from something else and relating them to another thing. It takes battle strategy, and it takes strategy in general, and allows you to relate it to your business ventures, to your work, and to your fitness goals as well. Yeah, another quote from there is, deception is the key to all warfare.
Deception
is the key to all warfare. And you can take that in a million different ways, and it doesn't always have to be negative. A lot of people think of deception as negative, but sometimes you can deceive yourself into success as well.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So moving on to resources, if you could please share with the listeners one resource like a MyFitnessPal app you must have in order to stay consistent in reaching or maintaining your fitness goals.
I think MyFitnessPal is definitely the one you want to get to start tracking. But I think that something that's really good that you can be consistent with is Google Drive. Google Drive is a really, really good, it's just a Microsoft Excel app. Matt Ogus actually introduced me to this not too long ago, and if you have an iPhone, or I think it's on the Samsung too, is you can get a little Excel spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it very easy for you. A lot of people, just think about your day. Do you have 2 minutes or say 5 minutes that you can spend literally just planning your workout and putting it on an app? You probably do. And a lot of the times, I know I do. Take some of those minutes off my social media, and I definitely have time. And what I tend to do is, even if it is just writing the exercises down and detailing them in order, if you put conscious thought into the order of your workout, like making sure you're working the biggest muscles first, or your weak points first, or say, not blasting your triceps out and then trying to go heavy on a bench, I think that you'll have a better workout. And it just goes back to planning for success, is that Google Drive allows you to toss together a little mini Excel spreadsheet and then date it with the day that you did. And as you go through your workout, throw in the number that you hit and how many reps and how many sets. You don't even have to put the sets if you don't want to, but then the next day you can open up that Excel spreadsheet again and look at that date the next week. Like say you're going back to chest and being like, oh, last week I did, 275 for 3 on bench for a 3x3. Okay, today, why don't I try 280? It keeps you more in line with what you've lifted because Cornell, hey, what did you curl? What pound dumbbells did you curl, last time you worked arms?
65.
How many reps? How many sets?
Man, I didn't write it down, but since that recommendation and that resource, I'm definitely going to use Google Drive because how do you know what to do if you don't know what you did, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't study history, and this means the past as well, you are bound and determined to repeat it. Meaning you are going to repeat that weight that you did before, or even go lower because you yourself may be like, oh, I'm dragging today. I know I usually go 65, but I'll go 50s today. But if you look at that and you're like, wow, I got 15 reps yesterday or last week with the 30s. Wow, I should probably go up. And that's a physical presence. It's all coming back to making that environment, making the physical presence, because your mind can easily stray. But if your mind is paired with your body and your physical environment, it makes it much easier to motivate yourself and much easier to progress.
Great recommendation, man. I'm feeling convicted already because I have a problem with tracking, my routine. So thank you for sharing that. Bob, as we finish this show up, if you could share with the listeners a motivational quote that you use to inspire you, to keep you going. And this can be a quote in your own words or somebody you appreciate or support. So take it away, Bob.
This is my dad actually speaking, but it's something that I've coined myself and I've told many people in the fitness community this quote. And as you go through your fitness journey, you will find that you will lose a lot of friends. You will lose a lot of relationships. You will lose out on the parties. You will lose out. And this is the journey of success, is you will lose out. You will lose. You will lose parties. You will lose friends, events. It's countless. And you can sit back and regret all of those things. But when I broke up with my girlfriend of 3 years who was bringing me down, and I felt like I lost a huge piece of my life, my dad looked at me straight in the eye and he goes, Bob, what you've lost is nothing to what you have gained. So what I go to everybody is I say, you think you're losing a lot, but imagine what you're gaining.
And that's it, man. Thank you for sharing that, y'all. I appreciate you sharing that recommendation, Bob. We're closing out the show. You've been a wonderful guest, man. I really appreciate the conversation we've had, but as we know, all good things come to an end. You've been inspiring and motivating, and I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. And all the information and recommendations that we have been shared with by Bob can be found at www.gettubefit.com/Olympusiron. So check out his page, subscribe to his channel, comment on his videos, and show YouTube Fitness some support. Bob, thank you, man, for coming on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you so much, Cornell. This was an absolute pleasure, guys.
All right, man. And that's a wrap, man. Catch you on the next upload, man. Peace out.
See ya.
This has been Get Tube Fit, the podcast with Cornell Green. For more info on today's show, hit up gettubefit.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.